Now we are sitting here with Mr. AntonGiulio de Robertis, who is founding secretary general of the Gasperi Foundation and a professor.
Yes, of History of Treaties in International Politics in the University of Bari, Milan and St. Petersburg.
You had quite an interesting discussion here about deploying troops in conflicts outside of
let's say the NATO area.
Okay? NATO area, yes.
NATO area.
Could you elaborate a bit?
Yes, I think that, in my opinion, the chief of governments of some European countries member of NATO, need to pay more attention to one of the principles stated in the so-called new NATO strategic concept, that was referring to the stability. I am not at all sure that all the measures of intervention adopted by some European governments were coherent with this principle of keeping stability. Mm-hmm. Because when you start military operations, first of all, you never know when and how a military operation will finish. And second, there is this bad habit that is now usual in most of the operations waged by NATO or by other organizations to involve large so-called collateral damages in the operations, which means collateral damages, very often large amount of civilians killed by the weapons used in these operations. And this is a problem that needs, in my opinion, to be taken in much higher consideration.
Then what do you think about French intervention or French troops intervention in Mali? Do you think this is correct? Or,
perhaps, honestly speaking, I don't know what was really the situation like in Mali, and I wonder if it's easy for any civilian living in Europe to know exactly what was going on there. But in any case, perhaps the intervention in Mali was necessary. What I argue is that the intervention in Mali, in any case, has been made necessary because of the destabilization produced in Libya, on which I have a lot to discuss about how convenient it has been. Mm-hmm. Not to take into consideration that the barbarianism of the killing of Gaddafi is something that not believes to the the European, not only Italian, set of values. Because details that I don't recall here of the killing of Gaddafi as really unacceptable. Okay, that's the less we can say about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There has been discussions about creating European armed forces to react on either such incidents that we have in Mali or whatever might occur. What is your view about this? Because I understand that at the moment there is also a problem that I'm not sure if it's a very big problem, but still there are voices who say that French went into Mali, but weren't really helped by other states.
The idea to have an European military force is perfectly correct. In fact, we Italians, for instance, we supported and we still support the failure of the creation of this European defense community in the '54. So. Mm-hmm. In principle, we agree. The point is that the decisions about the use of this force need to be very strictly, low tide. I mean, it is important that we come to terms with the principle of the rule of law. the rule of law that has to be observed and improved, implemented at the national level, but also at the international level. I mean, we have a set of rules that makes the international law that too often are ignored or interpreted in a way that is convenient to the solution that a single government adopts. What I think is that it's necessary to stick to the really, content of the international law.
So the political decision somehow overruns the rules.
To be more clear,
yeah.
Too often, even if in principle, it was stated that any action would have to be in agreement, in coherence with the international law. What means very often that in order to use force, you need to have the agreement of the Security Council of the European of the UNO. Yeah. Sometimes this agreement has been not really, searched or waited for, and in some cases, the agreement, the really extent of this agreement, in my opinion, has been, let's say, forced. Okay. In my opinion, when you resort to force, the tendency must be not the extensive interpretation, but the opposite, because use force is never or almost never something really without counter
reaction.
Yes.
Yeah. Today we are speaking about the soul of Europe here.
Yes.
Is it something, some kind of discussion that goes on in other countries in Europe as well, or is it unique?
Speaking frankly, it is the first time that I attend a meeting focused on this topic. I think that the topic is very important, that the time is ripe to come to terms with this set of concepts that need to guide in a way, the political action of Europeans and European political forces. I think it has been a very good idea. It has been very useful, this kind of meeting. This type of meeting, and I am glad to say that we discussed, myself and the other Italian participating in this meeting, Ambassador Vattani, with President Pöttering, suggesting to repeat this discussion with the participation of some of the participants of this meeting in Italy. Ambassador Vattani invited, to arrange the meeting, to hold the meeting in Venice, where he is the president of this Venice International University. And I expect, as I asked also, and Mr. Pöttering in a way agreed, that in fall we can have a second, let's say, edition of this very effective, useful discussion about the soul of Europe in Italy, in Venice.
That's good news.
Good, yeah.
Thank you very much for your thoughts, and
thank you
good to have you here.